Shoomba Loomba. Now Shoomba Loomba. And I think it's more fun than Chingaluka. So we're going to say, now Shoomba Loomba.
Shoomba Loomba.
Shoomba Loomba. Yeah, when I asked the girls, like, hey, what do you guys say? Shoomba Loomba. And I'm like, okay, I'll say Shoomba Loomba. So we're going to say, now Shoomba Loomba. And then come say, Taquaba, Taquaba, Gabe. Okay, everyone got it?
Sure.
We'll go slow. You
Chris,
think
this
so?
is
That's
this
better
is for
than no.
Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we ready? Taquaba, Luwabanga, Yesu. Taquaba, Luwabanga, Yesu. Taquaba, Luwabanga, Yesu. Taquaba, Taquaba, Gabe. Nayenda, Nayenda, Yenda. Conce, Conce. Now fire, fire. Conce, Conce. Now Shoomba Loomba. Conce, Conce. Taquaba, Taquaba, Gabe. Nayenda, Nayenda, Yenda. Conce, Conce. Now fire, fire. Conce, Conce. Now Shoomba Loomba. Conce, Conce. Taquaba, Taquaba, Gabe. That's all. Thank you. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, you can sit down. I really enjoyed that. All right. So, do I need to use this? Oh. Okay. Is it loud enough? Okay. Whoa. Okay. So Zambia. Does one of the kids want to come up here and try to find out where Zambia is on this globe? 1, 2, 3, 4. Please, someone go. Colt. I'll help you. Okay. Now, we said that's Africa, so find Africa. That's North America. We're there. This is the big continent of Africa.
We gotta find again.
Zambia.
Right there.
Yeah! Can everyone see where it is? So, here's the United States. See that, guys? And then all the way over here is where Zambia is. It was an 18-hour plane ride. It was really long. But anyways. Okay, so I'm just gonna, when we do stuff with, yeah. And then I had to fly all the way to Zambia. And then fly to the, no, okay. Anyways, so what we usually do when we find a new place to go with the kids, we, have some quick facts, have some questions, so they learn more about the country that we're gonna be talking about. So I felt like that would be an easy way for you guys to know more about Zambia. So I have some questions, but I have a couple quick facts first. Okay. So there are there's almost 12 million people in the country of Africa. There's almost 12 million people, 11.9 to be exact. And there's over 1 million people in Zambia living with HIV or AIDS. And we stayed in the capital city, which is called Lusaka. And there's 3 million people in the city of Lusaka. So like a fourth of the whole country lives in this one city. Okay, so my first question is, how many orphans are there in Zambia? Take a guess. A is 500,000, B is 1 million, and C is 1,500,000. C? A. B. C. A. B. What's the answer? B. There are 1 million orphans living in Africa, in Zambia, and over 600,000 of those are due to HIV and AIDS, and then the other 400,000 are due to other things. And then our next question is, how many Zambians are under the age of 18 years old? A is 2 million, B is 4 million, and C is 6 million. A? What do you think? Can you see? B, C. What do we think? All right, what's the answer? C, 6 million. Yeah. There's actually 6.25 million, but, for the sake of the quiz. Okay, and this is because, the life expectancy of people in Zambia is 39 years. So that's not very high. And so there's so many people, there's so many kids, and you're allowed to work legally at the age of 12. You're allowed to get a job. Yeah. That's not necessarily a good thing. Okay, so the next question is what percent I know. All these pictures I did take of kids that we met and stuff like that. I just had pictures I wanted to show, so I figured like I would just add them one. Okay, so what percentage of Zambians live on less than $1.25 a day? A is 30%, B is 50%, C is 70%. That's a C, B, C, B. What's the answer? The answer is C, 70%. That means that 70% couldn't even go to McDonald's and buy a hamburger. Like that, they couldn't even do that. They don't even have enough money. So, yeah. And part of the reason is because a lot of people live in rural areas, and that is like a typical hut of like people outside of the city. That's, all you'll see basically. That's what people live in. That's their house. Does everyone see that? And a lot of reasons people don't have the money is because, they farm and they grow their own food, and they just grow as much food as they need for their family. Yeah. So, the next question is, what is the main religion in Zambia? Christianity, Islam, or witchcraft? C? B? B? B and C? You can't have two. Okay, what's the answer? Christianity, woo! That's a good thing. Okay, so these are a few of the we went to 2 different churches, and this first one was the one we went to first, and it was actually a really big Assembly of God church. I thought that was so cool, because day 1, I'm going to an Assembly of God church, and I'm like, thank you, Jesus, for comforting me, and it was really big, and it was really nice. And then the second week, the room was like probably smaller than this room, and that was their whole church, and they just, had everything there, and so it was really cool. But Islam is, it has about 30% of the country is Muslim, I guess. And then witchcraft is very, very real in Zambia and most of Africa. It is so dominant. People practice it. There were kids at our camp who had been under, like under demonic stuff. People, and also in Zambia, like sometimes if they do a witchcraft thing on you when you're a child, then you wear like a charm bracelet, and then like kids will be wearing like charm bracelets that mean they were prayed like under the witchcraft. Like it's really real, and it's really sad, and it's kind of scary. But anyways, that's enough about Zambia. So now we're going to talk about the organization that I went with. It's called Every Orphan's Hope. And that is, his name's Gary Schneider. He is the CEO, founder, and he started this thing called Every Orphan's Hope. And they've been an organization for almost 10 years. And their whole main focus is on the orphans and on the widows of Zambia. That is their, that's his heart's desire and their whole, organization. And what they do on the smaller scale is they have these things called My Father's House. And what it is they build these houses, and they bring in a widowed woman of the church who is a very strong Christian, and she becomes a house mother of a house. And in each house, they'll have 4 orphan boys and then 4 orphan girls. And, when they work it all out with the government and stuff like that, then they all move into the house, and so they become a new family, because they had lost everything. And if they have brothers and sisters, they try to keep them together, And so the ones that we were at, in the village Chongwei, which is where we did our camp, like this is like half of a building, but that's like one house. And then so there'll be like 2 houses, and they had 4 built, and they had room to build they had 2 long things built, and they had room to build 2 more, and one is already under construction. And so one of the days we got to spend with the kids, and we just got to bless them, and we got to, if you want to go to the next slide, we got to help them wash their clothes. And you know how easy it is? Yeah, that's me. It's so easy for us to wash our clothes, but this is how they wash their clothes. They get their shirts in a bucket, and they'll scrape their knuckles together. And they do that among the whole shirt, and that's how they wash their clothes. And so when we tried to help them wash their clothes, they had a whole basket of clothes. And they, like, put it, we put it in the bucket and, put it in the water. And they have this paste that they rub against their hands so the water gets soapy. And then they go in there and they scrape their knuckles together. And it hurts really bad. And, like, I'm, like, leaned over and I've done, like, 2 shirts. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. I'm like, I still have a whole basket to do. But, we wanted to really help them and bless them. And another really funny story that I wanted to add. My girls in my group at camp, they asked me, like, why are your hands so soft? Do you do your own laundry? And I'm like, I do my laundry. And we told them what a washer machine is, and they never heard of that before because that's just how they wash their clothes. And after doing this, I realized, like, wow, my hands are too soft because they could tell that I didn't do my own laundry. But we were able, because in every group at camp, I'll get to this, but there's 2 Americans. And so the other girl, we got to bring lotion in because we explained to them, like, our hands are soft because we bring lotion and we wear lotion on our hands. So we were able to take to camp one day to our girls in our group, and we let them all put lotion on their hands, and they were just like sitting there, and they were just like, oh my gosh, it's so soft. And they would, like, come up and put it on my face because they were like, it's so soft. And I'm like, yeah. And so that was really exciting. Anyways, at Ruffin's Hope, they also drill wells and stuff in different villages so they won't have to walk as far, because there were people, they walk like miles and miles to get water, and they carry it in a big bucket up to 5 gallons on their head, like 5 gallons of water on their head, and they don't even hold on. Did you see the picture earlier? And they walk like how many ever miles back to their house without even holding on to the bucket. It's incredible. Anyways, so we got to spend the day with my father's house, and each of us, like, got their own little house, and some people, did other stuff. We just wanted to bless them and just, show them love. And so the next thing that we got to do is Camp Hope, woohoo. This is what my shirt is. We got to have over 300 orphan and vulnerable children come to our camp, and, vulnerable children is just like, they, like, they're poverty and they don't have anything, and so they're vulnerable because they're still malnutrition and they still are in the same shape as orphans, even though if they do have parents. So there were over 300 orphans, and there were about 40 Americans, and then we each had translators. So if you want to go to the next slide. We got to also feed them 2 meals a day. We got to feed them breakfast, and we got to feed them lunch, which is like more food than they've had like in months. And the lunch, they would get one of their staple food. It's called enshima, and they would get like Nerf football size of this enshima, and like they would get that to each kid, and it would like fill them up, and like because they would like, and they would eat faster than we would, and we wouldn't even be eating as much just because they wouldn't have that. And enshima is like this cornmeal type stuff. It looks like mashed potatoes, but it's like thicker and not gloopy, and it's really kind of bland. But what they do is they get a little bit of it and they roll it in a ball, and they like dip it in a sauce, and then they eat it, and they put their hand in the water. They have a little bowl of water, so their hands will be wet so they can get another ball, and that's how they eat it. And then we also got to give them like fruit and stuff like that to take home with them. And then whenever we would take pictures, like if you bring a camera out, all the kids will like swarm you because they've never even seen it. And a lot of the times, like they've never even seen what they look like. So if you take a picture and then you show them, they're like, oh, that's what because they've never seen themselves. They don't have mirrors. They don't have anything like that. So they were really excited. And so every picture I try to take, they'd put the orange in it. I have like almost 10 pictures where the oranges are stuck in there. And I'm like, okay, I guess I need to include that because it was just so special that they got to take an orange home with them. So, yeah. And so my group, I had 11 girls, and they were 14 to 15-year-old girls. And the girl that I taught with, her name was Gentry, and our translator's name was Shumba. Shumba, that's his name, yeah. He was an orphan himself, and he's been an orphan since he was like 7 years old. And at age 7, he was like living on the streets of Lusaka, which is like the capital. And he was like living on the streets at age 7. And so he has such a passion of teaching, and so it was really incredible that we got to work with him. And he just graduated college, and so he is like fluent in English. And a lot of the other translators like barely spoke any English, so we were like really blessed that we got him because I talk really fast. I'm probably talking really fast right now. But I would be able to read like 2 verses in the Bible, and then he would know how to translate them. And other people would tell me that they could only read like 1 line, and then their translator would have to translate. And I was able to read like verses at a time, and he would totally understand, and he would totally like make sure all the girls understood, and it was incredible. And so we really lucked out because we were just basically in this like a small part of the village, and we could go like, with your group, you just go wherever you want. And we lucked out because the very first day, we found this is like a little chapel. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's just like this little bitty straw hut, and it had like little stones as little benches. And so we got to go in there, which was really cool because a few days it was really windy, and all the ground is dust. So the dust just flies everywhere. And so we didn't have any distractions in other groups. Like if you would start playing a game, then, it would distract other people. But we were like so secluded. It was awesome. So if you want to go to the next slide, I'm just going to introduce you to all my girls because, I just love them. So her name is Fiades. Can you imagine if your name was Fiades? Like that's just, anyways, I love it. Okay. The next girl is Regina and Chola and Mojana and Miss Mary and Martha and Miles. Oh yeah, Miles is the only one of my girls who did not accept Jesus by the end of the week. So we really need to continue to pray for her. The seeds were planted, but, just, pray for her. And then Petronella and Anna and Nelia and Betha. It has an R, but they don't pronounce the R. Yep. And then I thought those pictures were just really cute. Okay. Anyways, so what we did every day was whenever we divided into our groups, we would teach them actually like 2 Bible lessons a day, and we would teach them memory verses, and we would do a couple crafts with them every day, and then we just played games. And it was really awesome because we were in our groups the whole day, so it was really secluded. Like I got to know those 11 girls so well, and they're really like have my heart. But it was awesome that it wasn't like 300 kids, because then it would be really like hard to connect. But we had our own groups, and it was really awesome. And what Ever Friends Hope does is every year they go to a different village to do this camp, and they do 2 camps a year with like different 300 different kids, or whatever. And so they go to like the local churches, and they get the names like from the chiefs and from the churches of orphans, and they go and they inspect, like not inspect, but they go and like check out where they live, to see if they're really like should be able to come to this camp, like if they really need it. And so then they'll come to the camp, and then we do all this stuff, and we teach them all these lessons, and we just love on them as much as we can, and just show them God's love, because whenever we ask them what